All right, welcome to Whiskey Bandit Reviews. I'm Eric.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Corey.
All right, and today we have a mashup of Jim Beam and Jack Daniels. What is better? We're going to try them in blind flights. So we're going to see what's better, Kentucky or Tennessee.
Ugh.
Let's drink on that.
All right, so we've got some flights poured out for us. My lovely wife, Megan, poured them out for us. We don't know which is which, but these are the 4 bottles that we're going to be trying. We have Jim Beam, just the regular white label, and then we have the Jim Beam single barrel. As far as the Jim Beam, the white label, let's see, it comes in at 40% alcohol, so 80 proof. And the Jim Beam single barrel, 54% alcohol, so 108 proof. Josh, what do we got on the Jack?
All right, so the single barrel select on the Jack Daniels is a 47% alcohol by volume. It's a little less than the Jim there. And then 40% on this as well. So the standards run pretty much the same on those. A little bit of difference in the single barrel, but looks like overall same.
Right, and we had to go acquire these because I just didn't have Jack Daniels and Jim Beam sitting around, unfortunately. Definitely didn't have the single barrels. We have a barrel strength back here, which Josh and I have tried before and we loved. What was the other one that we tried that was Jim Beam that just blew us or what?
That was
Not Jim Beam, it was Jack.
That was the Jack Daniels, the Coy Hill.
The Coy Hill, and that was like 140-something proof.
Yeah, and
So,
it was awesome.
Yeah.
If you ever have the chance to try it, it is great.
All right, so we got Jim Beam, our Kentucky product, us Kentucky boys. I think we want that one to win, right?
Very much so.
I want it to win. I don't feel good about it, but let's see how it goes.
So Jim Beam out of Claremont, Kentucky. The mash bill on that one is roundabout or said to be 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12% malted barley. What about the Jack Daniels? What we got on Jack Daniels, Corey?
The Jack Daniels, it's 80% corn, 12% rye, and around 8% malt.
All right, and so that one's down in Lynchburg, Tennessee. We've made our feelings known about Tennessee previously, so we won't go there again. But I've actually been to the Jack Daniels distillery before. Pretty cool little tour there, but very commercialized, kind of generic, what you would expect, like Disneyland type stuff. So we paid and did like one of their more expensive tours and tried like some Frank Sinatra stuff that they had there, and that was like, it was like drinking a cigarette. So Corey's joining us today. You like whiskey, but you're not one that has like this many bottles or can tell you how it's made, whatever. You know if you like it and if you don't, right? So what's your kind of background on whiskey?
Yeah, we were talking before we recorded, and you come here, you look at the bar that Eric has, and there's enough bourbon and whiskey here to stock a small dive bar. If you go to my house, I have like 4 bottles, and they're just in a cabinet above my stove. So I'm just the dumb brain regular guy. I like it. Some of it tastes good, some of it tastes bad. So I'm kind of here as a non-expert voice, I guess.
Well, Josh and I are very much not experts, as I'm sure many of you will let us know in the comments how dumb we are. But Josh, what are your thoughts on Jim Beam, Jack Daniels? Any history with those?
Being a Kentucky boy, I want the Kentucky company to win. I don't feel great about that happening, just because. Simple fact of the matter, the different products that I've had from Jack in the past have simply been better. So we'll just have to see how that goes. Blind taste testing all of these, but
Right.
just got to get into it and see what we can find out.
And maybe Corey can join us for some future videos, and we can kind of see what his whiskey profile may be. So we won't hold back any further. Just first thoughts on these. I'm looking at them. We got the flights here. They're all in the same order. We don't know what they are. We'll have to acquire with my wife and see what order these are, but I can definitely tell, maybe looking from the top, that 2 of them are darker than the other 2. Now, are those going to be the single barrels? Or at least they are to me. Are they to you?
I'm not going to lie to you, man. 3 of these look pretty close to the same color.
Yeah.
To me, one of them
is much lighter.
One of them is quite a bit lighter. The other three for me are pretty similar.
So it may be cheating here to have the bottles right in front of us. So,
That's kind of what I see, too.
I don't even know if they can see Corey, so let's move into bottles.
But it looks to me like this one on the far right, it's very, very clear. Like it just, I don't know, it doesn't look like it has much to it. These two right here, at least to me, look to be definitely the darkest.
Me too. Yep, those are the two I see the darkest. The one on the right's the lightest. I'm assuming that's the Jim Beam. That's just thoughts. Now, I don't know. I don't want to look at the bottles, but I don't know if the single barrels are going to be darker. Or if Jack Daniels is just darker than Jim Beam, or vice versa. I'm going to kind of hold the Jack Daniels to a bit of a higher standard, I guess, just due to price, because Jack Daniels costs pretty significantly more than Jim Beam. At least I've got a receipt here from Kroger where I got all 4 of these bottles at the same time. So the Jim Beam white label I have at $16. Jim Beam single barrel $23.99. The Jack Daniels at $23.99. So the Jack Daniels is costing the same as the single barrel for Jim Beam. So
that's really cheap for like a single barrel bottle too.
Yeah, and I guess just kind of right off, you think Jim Beam, you think that's cheap, like well bourbon, like not something that you really want to have, right? Mm-hmm. If someone were to make you some generic drink at some bar, maybe in a bowling alley, it would probably be made of that, right? And I joke about that because we have a bar in a bowling alley here.
We can relate to that, yeah.
And then the Jack Daniel's single barrel came in at a whopping $49. So significantly more, double the price of the Jim Beam and the regular Jack Daniels.
Yeah. So one thing that I'll note on that front, you know, head to head, maybe the Jack ends up being better, but you got to keep in mind as well, you're in a $50 price range on that.
Yeah.
You know, that opens up a whole new world of competition for this one especially.
What does $50 get you in the bourbon world? And I would like to think better than Jack Daniels, but we've been blown away by Jack Daniels before, even though we don't want to be by certain products.
They continue to impress us, as unwilling as we are in that. You know, they've done a good job, like we said earlier, especially things like the Coy Hill and
But then again, that's going to be like that way up here price. So anyway, Corey, where do we want to go? Left or right?
I say we start to the left and go to the right.
Okay.
Because I'm stupid, and that's going to keep us in order.
Yeah. Okay. So
we're going. We are going your right to left.
Okay. So let's get a nose on this one on the left here. And we got tiny little cups, so I'm kind of struggling here.
I'm going to try to not breathe it in.
Just kind of generic bourbon.
That's kind of where I was stuck at. I don't really know how to go more complex than that.
I mean, just off the nose, you can kind of get that rye base. You know, it's a rye-based bourbon. Spiciness to it. Let's see.
I think I'm maybe getting a little like vanilla.
Vanilla, yeah.
It definitely doesn't have that real strong alcohol smell to it either.
That's true.
Kind of cinnamon a bit. And this is one of the ones that we said looks a little darker. So it's just really hard to get it off of. Either it's hard to get it off this tiny little cup, or it doesn't have much to it.
Take our first sip here. It's got that rye feel. Got a little bit of that tingle to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a really late kind of peppery taste. I'm getting at the end of it after chewing it. Where do you think that falls on proof?
It feels high to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I know we didn't necessarily have the highest proof on any of these products.
Yeah, this Jeam.
That's
what the Jeam is 80 proof, and whatever that is definitely above 80 proof. I think the other one is 108. What are your thoughts, Corey, as far as tasting that? As maybe not someone who drinks bourbon a whole lot, but what kind of stands out to you as far as the taste there?
For me, that's a really aggressive whiskey. That's one like I wouldn't turn my nose up to that. That definitely wouldn't make like a list of my favorites or anything. I definitely don't think it's bad. But it's really really aggressive and it finishes hard too. So like you when you said pepper, that was definitely it. It's got that in it big time.
So for you, what is a whiskey that you like? Like you're saying that one's aggressive. So what's one that you find is like, that's the best I've had so far? I like that one.
My favorite whiskey is it's pretty much there's two that are like right neck and neck. It's Four Roses, small batch, and then Eagle Rare. Those are my two.
Okay, so both
those are my
bourbons.
two favorite. Yes.
Okay. Any other whiskeys? You like Scotch or Irish whiskey? Anything like that?
Again, I'm a dumb brain. I haven't tried a lot. I like Makers as well. I do not like Makers 46. I think it tastes like jet fuel. But I like straight regular Makers.
Okay,
I don't know
so
what that is, but
the first two you mentioned, the Four Roses, which we got behind you there, and the Eagle Rare, both rye-based bourbons. So kind of add that note to the profile on things you may suggest for Corey. Makers is a wheated bourbon. But a good wheated bourbon. I'm going to leave a little bit of that so I can come back to it.
Yeah,
but,
I'm definitely going to want to come back to this, but I want to make a note of something. This last sip of this that I took, I kind of chewed on it for a little bit. I let it sit a little longer than I did the first time. And I got to tell you, I got a very overwhelming, just like straight alcohol flavor profile from that one. I don't know what, if it just maybe hit me wrong this time or something, but whatever this one is, I don't know if it's necessarily one that you want to chew on very long.
Yeah, so just right off, we've not hit the others yet. First guess, which is probably going to be wrong.
Absolutely.
What do you got on it?
If I'm
which
just
one do you
guessing?
think it is? Yeah.
That's kind of putting me on the spot. I will just say that maybe that is the Jim single barrel.
Okay. And, yeah, same with you. I don't know where to go because I can't remember the last time I had Jack Daniels. Can't remember the last time I had Jim Beam. That didn't go straight into a Coke.
Right.
An airplane of it at Kroger Field going straight into some Coke. Not that happened. So, Corey, you not knowing anything about any of these or very little, if you could blind guess, you've got 25% chance. What do you think?
to me, this tastes just like straight Jack. That is one of the whiskeys I've had a decent amount.
Yeah.
And I remember Jack having that really aggressive nose. It even has a hard finish. It is very alcohol-y. And so that kind of makes me think it may be just the plain Jack.
The regular Jack was 40% alcohol,
So
80
also
proof, and the single barrel select was 47%. So
this is the highest?
yes.
For half of the price of that. Interesting. I also think this is the Jim Beam single barrel, but who knows? We'll see. Number 2, next one over. Okay. I'm getting a bit more floral-y there. And not
Yeah.
quite a E.H. Taylor vibe, but like a Four Roses kind of floral.
Yeah, just from the smell, I really like this.
It's got like a very just natural scent to it. Like it smells like you get the wood.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, this one I'm actually getting the oak smell off of it. The
Yeah.
other one I did not.
yeah, and then also like you said, like it's got like a florally like it
Yeah,
just.
I'm going to try it.
Okay, let's get in there.
Much lower proof. Makes me feel better about my single barrel on the first pick. Nose, the nose is better than that first one.
That's really easy.
The nose is better. The taste is not for
The
me.
taste is not good. That is an 80 proof. Because I get nothing off of it.
I think that's regular Jim Beam.
I'm gonna say that's the regular Jack.
That's not something you're just gonna drink. That is getting mixed into something.
Absolutely.
and
That's spicy water.
Probably some like 20-year-old somewhere drinking that.
Yeah.
Because they got it for $20 somewhere. I also think that is the Jack Daniels 80 proof. You said you think it's Jim Beam.
Yeah, because
This Jim Beam?
yes, just
White
a
label?
regular white label Jim Beam. It's just fairly
Okay.
anything. I don't know. That's like one of those like whiskeys as a kid you sneak it out of your dad's cabinet because it's the one he hasn't touched. And so I don't know. I don't think it's any good.
The only thing that I ever snuck out of anyone's cabinet was Bacardi 101, and it ruined my life for a while. That did not go well, and I still don't like rum because of it.
Anyway, all right, on to number 3. For me, this is visibly darker. I thought this and the first one were the darkest. Nose, again, not as strong as that second one, which is odd because that second one tastes so not good.
Yeah. I'm not getting a lot off the nose, but it smells sweet to me.
Yeah.
It's almost kind of like minty, and not like peppermint, but like mint your mom or grandma grows outside, and like you pick it and like
wash it off and put it in your sweet tea.
Yeah.
Anybody else do that? Is that just us?
That's just you.
Okay.
But
It's really good. Try it. Sweet tea, a little mint in there. It's awesome.
kind of, yeah. That's what I'm getting off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of green, like cut grass type deal too.
Yeah, for me, it's between something like that and like butterscotch, maybe.
Butterscotch. Okay. I see what you're saying.
It's very like artificially sweet smelling to me.
All right. I'm diving in. I don't like that.
It's better than the last one, but it's not great.
Better than the last one, not as good as the first one for me. Interesting.
That's another kind of flat one. Not as bad as the last one we did. It's definitely got some more flavor. It's a little more aggressive. It's something that you definitely feel a little more bite in.
I am getting a little more heat off of this one than that one. I think. It could be the combination of drinking all of them now. Probably not fair.
One positive that I will give on this third one that we're doing right now, not knowing what it is yet or anything like that, this one has a very nice like Kentucky hug that we like to call it. It kind of sits and lingers a little bit.
It does last longer. Yeah.
For me, that is one of the positives of whatever this one is.
I liked my second sip a little more than the first.
See, with you saying that, I hope one of us is wrong, because I think this may be the Jack Single Select.
I think this is the Jack Single. I think it's more, there's more to it, but knowing that Jack is proof down to 47%, it makes me think that may be it.
Yeah.
It's not as high as proof as that first one, I don't think, but it's definitely higher than that second one, which was not very good at all.
Yeah. I completely agree. That's where I'm at on this as well. I think it's the Jack Single Barrel as well.
All right, number 4, last one.
So what kind of sense are you getting on this? It's hard for me to pick much out of this one.
This one is,
yeah.
It's much more tamed down than kind of, definitely
Pardon
the
me.
last one.
I'm going to cleanse my palate a bit.
Which
like
makes
I
me
might
think I'm
need
going to be
something for
right.
that, too.
I think this is probably going to be the Jim Beam White because just like the first one for me, it didn't have much smell to it. It was hard for me to pick it out. I almost had to touch my nose to it to get any smell, but I could tell that one was a high proof. So I think the first one was the barrel strength Jim Beam, and I think this, without tasting it, is probably going to be the white label Jim Beam. I don't know, but I can't smell anything about it.
I'm also on the board as expecting this to be the Jim Beam White Label as well, and my reasoning is for the color.
The color is much lighter. Smells like when you go to a concert, Tyler Childers concert at the end of the night, and then like just everything that everyone has spilled on the ground. This is kind of what it smells like.
You're walking through some very sticky floors. Some guys having a bad time in the corner.
Yeah.
But still kind of got that sweetness. You can get the kind of like, when I think of rye, I always think of how all of them are, like if you were to get a rye whiskey, it's going to have a green label. And that gets me thinking like green things, whether it be grass or just coming up some kind of like fresh nature. And that's what I always get out of rye whiskeys. And I'm getting a very small hint of that, but like, you've got to put this in your nose to smell it. And we could be guilty by these tiny little cups we're using.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get anything off of that.
So kind of the area that I'm in with this one, and this is going to be uber specific. We like to do that from time to time on here, as you've noticed. You know, my dad's aunt, it would be my great aunt, had a pond on her property, and it was in the middle of a field. There was straw around. Sometimes me and Dad would just grab a couple things of straw. We would chew on it while we were fishing.
Yeah.
That is what this tastes like.
Cut hay that's not been.
Yeah.
That's still kind of green.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, Corey? What do you think it is?
I was kind of in the same realm of that
I'm
grass.
trying it. Sorry, I already tried it.
That grass, like wheat smell to it.
That's not good. It's not good.
No, that is awful. My gosh.
I mean,
Is there even any alcohol in that?
it doesn't taste like it. So you know it's an 80 proof. Maybe we've given ourselves too many clues, but for me, that's 100% the white label Jim Beam.
Yeah.
Because I think Jack, as much as I don't want to, it's probably going to have a little more flavor profile than the Jim Beam.
That's been my experience with it in the past, so that's kind of where I'm trying to base this off of in my head. So
Like this is like Kentucky Gentleman, like Kentucky Tavern bad. Like,
$8 plastic bottle.
yeah, like
fifth.
you get a whole gallon for. Okay, so we've tried them all now. We've been talking a little bit about it. We're about to rate them, what we think the scores would be. Guys, what are just kind of your thoughts after going through them? 1 through 4, what do you think?
One, I like that one. If I had to pick a favorite of all 4 of these, it would definitely be one. The more and more I drink whiskey and bourbon, I found out I like the more aggressive stuff. That's definitely what I like. Number 2 is still bad, but I want to take back everything I said about number 2 and then put it on number 4
Yeah.
because whatever that is awful. That sucks so bad. And then number 3, we kind of said a second ago, I really don't want to finish any of these 3. This one, I wouldn't mind drinking again.
I would
These
drink this
3.
one. I don't know. We're going to revisit them again. So we're going to rate them now. Let's start with the first one on the left. Scale of 1 to 10. No rookie scores. Like our highest right now is what, like an 8.2 or 8.6 or something. We've not gone above that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think we've been as low as like a 6.8 maybe. So we've had some pretty good stuff so far. But we've only tried things that we knew were going to be good.
For me, having a scale that really has nothing to go against, that's almost kind of like a 4.5 for me. Maybe even a tad high for that, but it's not great. It's not awful.
I get the proof at the end of that, and I like it because me and Josh, we are proof.
language, young man.
Yeah, and that's definitely a higher proof, and I like that. So I could sip on that. I mean, I would choose many other things over it, but for me, that's not bad. So I'm rocking for proof alone, and there's not much more to it. Maybe a 5.4.
Okay. So, that brings me to my score. My initial thought, my initial inclination on this one, especially after taking that sip again, I was thinking 5.3. So me and you were right on like the same level.
If I can share one last thought on that, I definitely don't think it's bad. I know 4.5 score is low. I definitely don't think it's bad. But for me, the more, kind of we drank a little sip for the initial taste, and we've been drinking the rest of it here. It seems to be the more I've sipped on it, it's just not a very complex drink.
Exactly.
It's really simple. Like the notes it has are just, it's consistent, I guess, but it's just, it's not, it doesn't really have a lot going on to it. And I guess that's why I probably rated it below a 5.
The only thing that gets me on that is I know that's a decently high proof. Standard bourbon's going to be around 90 proof, I think, 88 to 90. And we have 2 bourbons that are well below that. Or Tennessee whiskey, as Jack Daniels likes to refer to themselves, even though they are technically a bourbon. So yeah, that one's probably going to be my highest score. I think I'm going to try again here, even though some of them I don't want to.
Initial thought, where I'm at right now, that that seems to be the better one for me. But we'll see on revisit.
2.
I don't even want to drink this one again.
Flat 2.
I'm low on this one. Yeah, this tastes like, say you're wanting a pop or a soda wherever you may be, and in your mind you're like, oh, I want a Coke, and they're like, oh, we only have Pepsi, and you're like, okay, I'll take Pepsi, and then they come out with a can of Pepsi and pour it over ice, and it just tastes flat. That is what this tastes like to me. And I'm scared because you went from your second one and you're like, everything I said about that one, the fourth one's worse. So I'm afraid to go back to this fourth one after I just hit that one.
I hate to be this way. I try to be a positive person on a lot of things. I cannot be a positive person on whatever whiskey this is. I'm going to be generous and give it a 1.5.
I want a 2.8 because we've all had Jeff the Creed.
Ugh.
And I almost would rather have that.
I'd almost
That
had
would
that out
be
of my
an
memory.
interesting
Thank
thing.
you.
Yeah, my only bottle of Jeff the Creed is gifted to me by Corey, and it had about an ounce out of it once I got it.
In my defense, I warned you that it was awful, and I think my exact words are, if you want it, you can have it.
So, number 3. Better not good. Better not good. Since that one was a 2.8 for me, I've got nothing else to say about this besides give it a 3.1.
Yeah, I'm going to just give me a flat 3.
All right, so we got a 3-1, we got a flat 3, and I think I will do a 2.5 on
Rookie
that
score. Finally, the one that we've all already declared as the worst, which if you look right now, you can see it's the one that has the most left in it.
I just
for
realized that
everybody.
we all left a lot.
And I really don't want to do this, but here we go. Oh. What I give?
No, I don't want to do it.
What did I give number 2? 2.8?
A 2.8.
That's a 1.8.
I'm coughing like it's strong, but it's not. It's just bad.
That's a 1.8, and I want nothing to do with it. I don't want to
0.5.
try it again.
It is technically a bourbon
0.5.
and whiskey, so 0.5.
That I think I could gather the raw materials to make bourbon and make something better than that in the next 6 months.
See, I think if you just put hot water and, again, the components in a clothes washing machine and let it go through a cycle, what came out would taste like that.
I agree. It's not great. I will give this a 0.8.
All right, there you have it. So we'll come back with our rounded scores, and we'll do the grand reveal to see what is what. What do we prefer the most? Did anything surprise us? We'll find out in just a minute. All right, so we have gathered ourselves and had a little bit of water to cleanse whatever it was we just drank.
Wash out.
That's my child.
You hear the baby in the background.
So the wife is back to kind of let us know overall thoughts. How confident are you guys in what you picked? I'm feeling pretty good about 1 and 4, which would leave 2 being the 2 jacks for me, so it's a toss-up. I think I'm right. 1 was significantly less. Do you feel confident with your picks that you already made?
Well, as far as my picks go, if I'm not mistaken, you and I picked the exact same lineup.
We did?
I think so.
Okay. We're going to look dumb.
So we're either going to look awesome or
This
really
channel
wrong.
has lost all
And-
credibility. Okay.
Well, like we
Corey's
mentioned,
going to have them all right.
like we mentioned earlier, this isn't necessarily something that we drink very much of anyway. We've kind of had it in the past.
I've never had 2 of these.
I haven't either. So it's kind of something that it's a little bit outside of our realm. The ones of these that I had in the past, whatever, they're not great. So anyway,
All right. Without further ado, Josh, what do you got for a score for number 1? What you got?
all right. So our number 1 with a rounded score is and I rounded all of these
Now-
to 1 decimal.
Yeah, this isn't top to bottom number 1. This is just the first one we tried.
Yeah.
Right?
Number 1.
I'm going in the order that we tasted.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So number 1 is a 5.1.
5.1, so that Okay, 5.1, which was also the one we liked the most, if I'm correct, right? Is that the high score?
It's by far the highest.
It's
By
number
far
one.
the highest score.
It's number one on paper and in our hearts.
Okay, and what do we got for number one?
Number one is Jim Beam Single Barrel.
Jim Beam Single Barrel. Josh and I got that right. Did you get that right?
No, I thought that was just
Did
plain,
you change it?
Plain Jack. I got nervous at the end because it did have that taste of a high proof. It just tasted like what my brain remembered straight Jack Daniels to taste like.
Okay, so by far the highest. You could tell it was the highest proof right off. And not a lot of flavor, but something that you could drink and not hate.
And
coming in at $24, half the price of Jack Daniel's Single Barrel, which we don't know what it is yet. That's going to be an interesting one.
I hope it's number 4.
All right, so Jim Beam, number 1. Josh?
All right, so number 2 coming in with a 2.1 is...
what did we think it was? I don't remember.
If I'm not mistaken, I think
2 we thought was bad. I thought it was regular Jack.
I think we both said regular Jack.
I think this is regular Jim now.
Number 2 is Jack Daniels.
Hey, yeah.
So
3 for
we
3.
100% got the rest of this right. Without a doubt.
I feel good about it.
I feel good about it.
Man, I think me and you nailed this.
I think we did too. And, all right, number 3.
Number 3, we have a 2.9 score.
What was the lowest score?
We're
not there yet.
We're going to get
there
to
yet.
that.
Okay.
We're going to get to
We're not
that
there
one.
yet. 2.9 on this one. And, okay.
The previous one was 2.1.
We know this is the Jack Daniel's Single Barrel, but
I will revisit our overall scores here in a second
Okay.
once we finish.
As I was.
Yeah, so let's go.
Number 3, Jack Daniels Single Barrel.
Okay.
Leaving number 4 to be Jim Beam.
Jim Beam. Terrible is what number 4 is.
So
Embarrassed. That's a Kentucky product.
All right, so a score recap. Okay, so if we were to combine them, who wins? Kentucky or Tennessee? Jim Beam or Jack Daniels?
those standards, Kentucky comes out on top. Just because the Jim single barrel carries the most on that.
Okay.
6.1 to 5 flat.
All right.
Kentucky versus Tennessee.
So Kentucky always on top. Bourbon. Basketball.
Women.
Okay. Standards as far as football programs. Yeah. So Jim Beam Single Barrel for what did I say?
$24.
$24, half the price of number 3, and number 3 was less than half of the score of number 1, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Number 3 was a 2.9. Number 1 was a 5.1. So
That's not a bad
Roundable.
price for a middle of the road bourbon either.
Yeah, so $23. This one, you could definitely get the proof out of it. Final thoughts, what do you guys think as far as everything we tried? Jim Beam, stay away from it. The 2 Jacks, what?
I'm not going to run to the shelves to buy any of these. I'm just going to be honest with you. For $24, if that was indeed the price, for $24, the single barrel Jack isn't, it's serviceable. It's not going to blow you away. It's not the best thing in the world. Like Eric said earlier, it's got the proof. So it is
honestly more flavor.
Yes. I think the proof's the biggest thing it has for it because these last 3 that we did, they were just so plain. Like there wasn't a lot to them. At least this one had the bite and the power of a higher proof alcohol. Not awful. Again, middle of the road, but golly, as much as I hate to say it, that shouldn't be sold in stores.
All right, yeah, and Corey gets to go home with this, so you can keep that. All right, there you have it. What are your thoughts? I'm sure many of you have had a lot of these. Do you kind of get the same thing? Is that what you were expecting? What do you think about Jim versus Jack? Anybody else before we go?
I just want to throw one thing quick in after our credits and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to stick around, we'll have something else.
All right, yeah. Ooh, that number 4. All right. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And like. At least like this thing or comment. All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. All right, so we got a little bit of bonus footage for you here on the Whiskey Bandit Reviews. We're going to do there's a bourbon we always talk bad about and compare it to the worst of the worst, and we just had a pretty bad bourbon. So we're going Jephthah Creed versus
White Label Jim Beam.
So I don't look forward to this.
I don't either.
We'll be real quick about it. Left. We'll go left first. Our left.
I thought we were done with this.
It's not good. Ooh, very chemically.
Nope.
Ooh. Looking at them, I thought that was the Jim Beam, but it's been a while since I've had Jephthah. This bottle is like a couple years old, the one that we talked about that Corey gave us, and it's only down to here.
It says a lot.
It's more of a somebody comes over and we just kind of...
It's a novelty item. It's like, oh, you like that? Now try this. All right.
Are you having a good day?
Number
You're
two?
about to stop. Oh, this smells bad.
That's worse.
That's
worse.
Oh, that's
just from the smell. This is Jephthah Creed.
That's worse.
Okay, so we are going to get...
Oh, my God.
we are going to get Megan back down here to tell us which one is which on this. And
Again, but not that we're getting too, with bonus footage, too complicated. Smells like nothing, smells bad. Right? Kind of tastes like nothing.
Tastes like
tastes
something
awful.
out of a janitor's closet.
it does. It honestly does. Like, that's my thing. That has to be the Jephthah.
Do you guys remember when we were like little kids in school and like someone would get like sick?
Oh,
and they
don't
would
even
throw
say it. Oh, those freaking wood chips.
Yeah, they throw
oh my God,
the orange wood chips out on like vomit. If you took that and put it in the mop water the janitor pushed around, I think that is this particular bourbon.
All right, we are back, and we're going to get the results for this. Left, we said it's Jim Beam. Megan, what is it?
All right, on the left you have Jim Beam.
All right.
All right, so Jephthah Creed, this
is still our standard for the worst whiskey that we have here. So,
and not only just throw away that we know what it is and what we think of it, an overall score for me for this is a .02. Like
a .02.
What do you think?
I mean, I was going to be a little more generous than that just
Okay.
because it is indeed whiskey. .4.
I was going to say .2 is what I meant to say, but the whiskey's talking.
Okay, well, you know,
.2.
whatever.
.2, .4.
I was gonna say I gave the Jim a 0.5 because it is technically a bourbon.
Oh, yeah.
So this would have to be a point. I'm gonna go there at a .2.
The Jim Beam
not
is
good.
significantly better than that.
Yeah.
That tastes like it's something that will harm you. Don't drink it.
This is a mistake.
Welcome to Whiskey Bandit Reviews. I'm Eric.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Corey.
And today we're going to try J.M. Daniels.
Jam Daniels, a very popular whiskey brand in the United States.
I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these.
But no, what I was going to say is like with Jack and Jim being like your basic bottom, like kind of swill brand.
Oh my God.
Even like their high tier stuff, at its
my
best,
God.
whichever one this first one is, it's not good.
I'm not doing that.
What'd you do?
I'm dumping that thing out. He just downed one of them.
Why?
I'm not even going to lie to you. I think I might have f***ed up. That number 2 might have been worse. If I get back to this one and it's still worse than what I did.